Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here this week with untamable hair, hence the plaits, a mouthful of ulcers and a real sense of patience. Welcome to the full moon in Leo. I'm here to look at the energies for this week, and I don't think that would be possible without looking at the energy of the full moon in Leo. I think it's on the 17th. Which is Thursday, I think, around about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon UK time. And what I'm hearing is the time and the date doesn't matter, it's the energy behind it. I'm just noticing that there's an awful lot of light, so well, it is what it is. You just have to deal with the light, and that feels very poignant this week. We're not going to get away without discussing the full moon in Leo and the energy of this, the expansive heart, the acknowledging the time and sacredness of certain things to occur in order to remove layers bit by bit. So we're in the Lover's year, and on the Lover's card, obviously the two figures are naked. This morning I really felt drawn to put several layers of clothes on, and what I heard was one layer at a time. There feels like a huge rush of things to be a certain way, and I'm noticing that individually and collectively, and it's almost like building the foundations with the universe one layer at a time, taking them off one layer at a time. Compassion, yes, thank you, compassion. Rather than stripping bare to everything that's going on, to take that compassion and realize that everybody gets naked in their own time, you know. And I'm getting the analogy of a striptease, you know, almost like we feel that we want people to get naked before they're ready, and we will pay them to do that, whether that's with cash or affection or our own beliefs, you know. It's down to the individual when they're ready to get raw, when they're ready to get naked. And that is their own divine timing. And we will have our own as well on a soul level that we may try and rush. And this is all very ego-centered. Now, I personally don't have a problem with the ego. I think it's a very valuable part of our soul. And I think to disregard it or push it to one side personally can be a very dangerous concept, because we are fragmenting parts of ourselves off. However, balance is key. You know, on the Strength card, on the Leo card, we do have the divine and we also have the animal instinct. And it's not about closing off the emotions, the animal instinct, the Salka, the wild, but it's also not about letting it run the show, and being able to bring in that higher energy when need be, and having that balance between ego and heart, mind and heart, body and soul, this week in particular. Ultimately, that is the co-collaboration, isn't it? Yes, we can talk about manifesting with the universe, but I was watching Kingsman last night, and there's a phrase in there from Rasputin, and I'm going to say it. He actually says, never make a decision until your tummy is full and your genitals are empty. And he says it in a different way. And I found that really powerful, because it's never make a decision until you're content. And this is basic. This is basic knowledge with manifestation, but it's almost like we're going back to another layer of that this week in particular. And that doesn't mean we have to wait for everything to be perfect before we manifest, but it means avoiding that knee-jerk reaction of manifesting from old patterns. Being content with where we are, even with the discontentment. Not, this is my life, there's nothing I can do about it, but this is where I'm at right now. Because until we acknowledge the present moment, until we acknowledge all the uncomfortableness or the beauty, whatever, until we acknowledge the beauty way, the wisdom behind our journey, based on where we are now, whatever we manifest isn't going to reach its full potential. So with that in mind, and with the Leo full moon, that feels very apt leading up. I'll get to Valentine's Day. There's so much coming in, so many downloads coming in at the moment. So much help, yes, so much help available. With the full moon in Leo, with the opportunity to manifest from the heart, the key is that it be from the heart of our whole journey. It be from the soul heart now. And that's a phrase that came through a couple of videos ago. And I didn't actually realise it was a word that exists, but it makes sense, you know, from the heart on a higher level. Now, a higher. That sounds like a word, a higher. Anyway, today is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everybody, a day to celebrate love. And I saw the most beautiful quote today from Alberto Villoldo. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was about earth keepers and every day being Valentine's Day because we're connecting to the earth. Finding that thing that you connect to every day, not just on Valentine's Day, that thing that you love, manifesting with that, okay? Really reconnecting to that divine love within you, not outside of you. That's what it was. The quote was very much about love not being outside of you, but an energy that you are. So if you're going to treat yourself to anything today, reconnect to the love that you are. Reconnect to your energy. Reconnect to your soul's heart space. Is there anything else? Well, yes, my mouth is full of ulcers, and my mouth is full of ulcers, one, because I've given up smoking and it's a side effect, it's a detox. So be aware of that. Anything that comes up as a side effect this week from no longer repeating addictive patterns. Be aware of anything that comes up as a side effect and see it as that. It is a side effect. It's also where my mouth is closed. My mouth is closed and my lip has been pushing against my teeth and it's caused friction. Recognizing when it's time to speak and when it's time to listen this week in particular with our own energy. Is this a good time to bring in new? How do I feel? How is my body feeling about that? Or is it because my body's feeling sad and I don't want to feel that, or my body's feeling X, Y, Z and I don't want to go there? Recognizing that, allowing the body to speak of the side effects that are coming up so that we can acknowledge them and not manifest from that space. Patience, the third aspect. Very, very difficult when we have become naked, when we have stripped off layers, when we are ready to bring in something new now. That can be very difficult to have patience, especially when for a lot of us it feels like it's been going on for a long time. It will, if we see this as one thing, it will feel as if this has been going on, I know personally for myself, for decades. It's multi-layered. We are multi-layered. So even though it feels as if it's the same thing, it's on a different level. It's on a different layer to enable us to connect back to that soul heart. Okay, so the manifestation that comes from that must match that on a different level. And that takes time. That can be a split second for some. It can be much longer for others. But it's about keeping the energy clear and simple based on where you are. That's what's really going to shift the potential this week leading up to the full moon. And that is where we're going to come face to face with an out of balance ego in regards to patience. We want our hearts to be open. We want to feel love, whether it's our own love, whether it's love for another, a love for a job. We want to feel the abundance of life that is actually all of our birthright because we remember it. That feels like the key. Remember it inside first. Remember how that feels. You know, I'm not saying it's our birthright as in entitlement. There's going to be a lot of energy in regards to that this week. I'm not saying it's our birthright as in entitlement. It's the energy we were born to bring. It's the energy we were born into. It's the energy we were born from. It's, however you want to call it, source, God, higher love, whatever. Remembering that, that's your birthright, to be in that space as much as you can. That is your choice. That is your will. That is your freedom. In any situation, you can decide to stand in that energy. So is there anything else before I look at the cards? No, it doesn't feel like it. Oh, the beauty way. The beauty way is the way of, a lot of shamanic practices will mention the beauty way, and for me personally it's on the path of the serpent. It's on the path of shedding and healing and our connection to the earth. Ironic that we're in a lover's year and we do have the serpent on the lover's card, but it's that really shedding our past like a snake would shed its skin in one beautiful, graceful movement. How do we do that? By deciding to stand in the energy of beauty, in the energy of wisdom, in the energy of seeing our path from the level of the soul heart. That's not to say we cover up what we've gone through, or we bypass it, either spiritually, emotionally, mentally, whatever. That's not to say that. It's to say that we acknowledge it, that we appreciate what we have discovered on a higher learning basis, layer by layer. That we own that energy from a place of compassion. Yeah, that's the only key word I can hear this week. Compassion for ourselves and for each other. Then we see through the eyes of the beauty way. Then we tread more gently on the belly of the mother. Then we step into that flow, and I can really feel that in my root chakra. We open to the connection of us and Pachamama. We step into that abundant flow of Aini, and things not necessarily become, they do become easier because we are in a soul flow. Okay, so how? That's all well and good, isn't it? Doesn't that just sound marvellous? Especially if we're in a difficult place right now. It's like, well, yes, great, tell me how. Okay, so let's look at the energies this week and how to best navigate them. First and foremost, we set the intention for beauty and wisdom. First and foremost, we set the intention to walk the beauty way. We set the intention to be open to see things from a higher compassionate level. We then begin to see through the eyes, the shamanic eyes. So we look at things, we imagine how things feel from an empathic response. So for example, we would smell a flower, or possibly taste a flower. If it wasn't poisonous, we would breathe in that flower, we would become that flower. We really take what we see to the next level. And a lot of us have been doing that with what's going on, but there's always room for improvement. There's always an opportunity to awaken our senses. Okay, so when we talk about waking up, it's not just our eyes, it's our senses, it's our body, it's our spirit, it's our soul. And every time we wake up, there is certain things that have kept us asleep that will come to the surface to be given back now, by accepting they were a necessary part of the journey too. So there's a real elder type energy this week. There's a real beautiful wisdom trying to come through this week, which is not what I expected when I first connected. So again, an example of really connecting deeper this week. Really connecting deeper. Okay. So we set the intention, we see through our senses, and we connect deeper. That's how we navigate the energies this week to coincide with the beauty way. Okay, do I even need to do the cards? Let's have a quick look. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm not surprised. Thursday, Friday, wow, Saturday, Sunday. Overall. So I'm not surprised. At the bottom of the pack we do have the Five of Pentacles. I'm not surprised to see the Strength card in there, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and like I say, I think the full moon's either Wednesday or Thursday. We really have the backing from the major arcana this week that is coinciding on a micro and macro level, so tying in with that full moon beautifully. We really have the backing of the energy. behind us this week. And what I'm really hearing is to see that, to really see and acknowledge that. We have a lot of wands this week, well, several wands this week. To be aware that when that comes up, that's Leo energy, that's spirit energy, that's divine energy. It may not feel like it, but it has divine potential. So at the bottom of the pack, we have the Five of Pentacles. And I love this card. This is from the Light Seers Tarot. It kind of reminds me of the Matchstick Girl story. You can see that she's very forlorn there, but the key is just in front of her to open the door. And I really feel that leading up to the 22 portal, there's lots of opportunities to open the door, and it's up to us to look up. It's up to us to see things from a different perspective, no matter how uncomfortable they are, in order to open that door to a different reality now. But that takes time and that takes patience, and we need to be ready. We can force it as much as we like. We can try and do it before we are ready on a soul level, and we're going to get the same responses. So really taking stock and ensuring that we're ready to open that door. There may be a reason that we don't want to look up. We can be very aware of our potential, and it can be a very daunting thing. It's like the lion on the strength card. That can be very daunting, you know. That creature, that side of us could roar, it could attack, it's so powerful. Making sure we're ready to open up to that power this week in particular. So overall, the energy, we have the Two of Swords. What I'm sensing is almost two different realities. I'm feeling kind of in between them, and none of them really resonating. So that knee-jerk reaction to go back to how things were because it's comfortable, or to jump ahead to how we would like things to be because where we are can be quite disorientating. That's what I feel. It can be quite disorientated. The Two of Swords. She's blindfolded. She can't see her way forward this week. But in that, there's great peace, because we know that if our way forward isn't the way that it was, and our way forward isn't the way that we expected it to be, there's always a third option. There needs to be another option. So it is about closing our eyes to what we actually see and opening our senses now. The other side of the Two of Swords can bring great peace if we are willing to be in that space between. One quick of my tea. It almost reminds me of the Justice card with the blindfold, and then I'm almost seeing Isis. And I remember working with the energy, the archetypal energy of Isis once, and feeling very frustrated that, you know, the world that I was seeing was very beautiful, but it wasn't being seen by others. I'm really, really frustrated. And I actually connected to I'll just say I connected to Isis, and the message that I got was it wasn't my place to point out the beauty to others, but to embody it so others remembered it. This week in particular, when we come up against frustrating circumstances, it isn't our place to point out reality to others. It isn't our place to decide what another sees or how another acts. That is their layer, that is their journey, that is their process, that is their birthright. If we embody the love, the energy, the divine self that we are, nothing else is needed. People will start to remember that within themselves. That's our only part here, to be who we came to be, not to spend our time trying to force others to be who we would like them to be. And that feels like a little bit of a tangent and almost a distraction, not to get too involved in that energy this week. That feels very key. Don't get too involved in that energy this week, because it's the biggest thing that takes us out of our energy, is to get too involved with how others should be. Really, really totally blinds us to our own journey, really blinds us to who we are, really distracts us. So back to this week's reading. slight headache, slight download coming on the Monday, and what we have is the Two of Wands. All these ideas coming in. I'm feeling quite trapped actually as to how to best manifest them. We're on the two. So when we bring down an idea, I totally recommend reading Advanced Energy Anatomy. I think it's by Caroline Mize. Apologies if I pronounce your surname wrong. But she speaks about bringing down an idea. I think it's chapter 4, chapter 5, something like that. Bringing down consciously an idea, and we take it through our physical body, our energetic body. We have to agree and accept this idea from the universe. We're at the stage of 2 here, 2 of Wands, and it's almost like we're trying to make it to the 10 of Wands. It's like, well, we've got this little idea up here floating around, and how are we going to put it into reality? Well, let's bring it down first. Let's see if we even accept this idea. Let's see if we're aligned with it, if it resonates with us. Yeah, if we're willing to go the distance with this. Is it in our heart? Most importantly, you know, before we even think about how we're going to figure it out, what happens when we bring that idea into our heart? And then our solar plexus, you know, where that saboteur energy is, where we start saying, well, we're not good enough, well, this, well, that's going to happen. Let's really bring it down into our body and see how we actually feel about that on the Monday. Co-creation at its beginning form. Taking time out now to be with those ideas. I'm having to drink with my tongue up because I have the ulcers in my mouth, and it almost reminds me of when you meditate and your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, but also when babies breastfeed, the tongue is around and at the bottom, and it's almost like in order to feed without being hurt, be in that meditative state, be well positioned. You know, when a baby breastfeeds and the tongue comes out first, that baby is well positioned. Be well positioned to feed from what you are being gifted here in order to get the whole nutrients that you need. Take time for that, you know, have that almost that skin to skin with your soul. Yeah, really have that moment with your own body, with your own self. Valentine's Day, if you're going to treat yourself to anything, treat yourself to being with your heart in particular today, with anything that comes through. How does that resonate with me? This video included, obviously. So on the Tuesday, we have the 5 of Wands. And it all depends really how well we can sit with this energy today. The 5 of Wands is a turning point. And it can be that we start to really connect to aspects that will move us forward. On the other hand, it can be quite stressful if we're trying to push that. You know, it can be, if we haven't positioned ourselves optimally to receive what it is we need, yeah, it can be feeling like quite an arduous task to get there. I just need to wait because something's trying to clear. So on the Tuesday in particular, excuse me, I track in my body, so I apologise. I'm not randomly burping or yawning or whatever. I track in my body with the energies, and it needs releasing, just like we all do. We all feel things, and it's all about releasing the energy that isn't relevant to where we're trying to go, particularly on the Tuesday. And I can really feel that in my solar plexus, under my rib cage, almost like a restrictive energy around that area and around the heart. So really looking at things that may be holding us back on the Tuesday, not what we think is holding us back, but our thoughts behind what we believe is holding us back on the Tuesday, and using that energy to transform the situation, to release now. It may feel stressful. There's, you know, stress, fear, excitement, they're all the same biochemical reactions in the body. It's up to us how we choose to use it. Okay, it's up to us, like the 5 of Pentacles, to see that as a key to move forward and transmute the energy, or to think, oh God, not this again. Okay, totally up to us. So the Five of Pentacles on this card always reminds me of the little match stick girl. Very, very powerful story. How she is constantly using these matches to look through the window of others and wish for those things to try and keep herself warm. I think it's Clarissa Pinkola Estes that talks about the matchstick girl, how she could sell a box of matches, what she actually has in front of her, and that would actually make the difference to her life. So looking at what's in front of you, particularly on the Tuesday, looking at what you've already gained and your journey and letting that move you forward, not the old patterns behind it, but what you've actually gained. You know, many of us have had our heart opened, and it's up to us to acknowledge that and be in that space of the open heart, which is difficult, yes, because then we have on the Wednesday the Strength card. Being in that space of divine patience, having that open heart, feeling that raw, feeling that whatever it is that comes up, that divine feminine energy that comes up, and holding space for that. It's doable. We're never given anything that we can't cope with. It may feel like it, but we're not, you know, and it's about recognizing our own strength this week in particular. Is there anything else on that? Not at the moment. On the Thursday, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So really noticing the growth through our own hands. Now, I want to say our own hands because in this card, I don't know if you can see, there's like an energy ray coming from this man's hands, and it's that that's actually growing things. Yes, it's supported by the earth. Yes, there's been seeds planted, but it's the energy from his hands now. It's our actions. Yeah, it's a 7. We're talking endurance. What actions have we endured that have given us this ability to grow on the Thursday? Really taking those forward in what we do now. I really want to go like this, but in what we do now. On the Friday, we have the Fool card, and it doesn't feel like the stereotypical Fool. So the Fool has many stages, and obviously the first stage is the unknown and the naive and the just walking along, falling off a cliff edge. It doesn't feel like that energy anymore. It feels like the wise Fool, knowing what they know, but also knowing that it means nothing on the next journey, knowing that there's always something to discover, and not allowing that wisdom to restrict us, but also being aware of it when needed. Full circle, that's what I feel on the Friday, the 0 point, the full circle, really looking, it's very blurry, isn't it? There we are. Really looking at that flower of life. Now, for me, when the flower of life came through years ago, before I knew anything about sacred geometry and all hell was breaking loose in my mind, like, I started to receive images of sacred geometry, and I didn't want to look them up. I wanted to find out what they meant for me first. It felt a very valuable part of my own discovery. We're all different. And the flower of life was actually gifted straight into my heart. That feels very poignant for Friday, that wherever we create from, looking at where it is we're creating from. What energy center are we creating from? And it's going to be different for everybody. But looking at where we're creating from and looking at how healthy that energy center is. We can create from the heart, but if the heart is closed off, so too will our creations be. Not how healthy, how open. How open that energy center actually is. I'm seeing the analogy of trying to push a baby's head out before the cervix is open. Is it open? Is it ready? And if it is, fantastic. You know, we have the Fool, we have that new beginning, we have that return to what we have discovered, but also knowing, okay, I'm done with that journey now. What's next? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. On the Saturday, we have the Three of Cups, so that real uniting here, be it in groups. Okay. Saturday, there feels an energy of bringing it back to what we know. So this is the first time with this card that I almost want to go back to the knowledge that I found in books. So 3 of Cups, we're talking celebrations, we're talking collaborations, we're talking sisterhood, da 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 da. Saturday, be aware of keeping that balance between the mind and our intuition. So let's do that. Let's do that. So what I'm feeling with this card is peace. What I'm feeling with this card is upliftment. What I'm feeling with this card, I'm noticing the violet on there, but it's more of a lilac. So it's not extreme transformation. It's a more gentle, feminine transformation. I'm feeling almost a knowing with the Saturday, with the energy of Saturday, provided we don't get too caught up in the what does this mean, and we really balance that out with what we know and what we feel. Saturday does hold the potential of some beautiful beginnings, some beautiful celebrations. Saturday feels like it's really standing out, actually. And on the Sunday, we have 6 of Swords. Moving forward now. Moving forward from those 3 birds, you know, the heartache, the 3 swords. Moving forward now, taking that and helping us move forward. The beauty way doesn't extract what has happened. It sees the beauty in it and it helps us to move forward. It sees the raw, naked healing that has occurred, the connections that have occurred, and helps us to move forward on the Sunday. I don't feel like the moving forward aspect will actually come until the following week. The 6 is harmony. The 6 is balance, and it's almost having peace with this too shall pass. This too will move us forward. Is there anything else before we bring it all together? Well, that's the ultimate, to bring everything together. Yes, that's how we find the beauty and the wisdom in our journey. We bring it all together. You know, we talk a lot of shadow work and the death aspect and the West and Jaguar and Otoronga, and this is obviously a personal opinion. Every time I've journeyed with Jaguar, it has never been about removing those aspects of my life, but bringing them back to the soul on a deeper level of acceptance, bringing it all together. When we are able to do that with all parts of our path, we are able to see from a different perspective. We are able to connect to a heart soul of what has occurred. It takes time, you know, it's a work or love in progress. It takes time, and that's part of it. That's part of its sacredness. Is there anything else that you want to say about that? No, let's bring it all together. Let's bring it all together. I'm seeing, I know it's the reflection of the camera, but I'm also seeing a very big eye, in my mind's eye, really, really tuning into what it is we are seeing now on all levels. I cannot stress that enough this week, to really use our whole body, all of our energy centers as eyes. The Peruvian shamans believe we have 11 eyes, and there is a video on my YouTube of how you can clean these. But really making sure that what you're seeing with one energy center correlates with the rest of the energy centers this week. Okay, so we have sword-wise 1, 2 swords. 2 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. So in order to move forward, we have that balance. We stand in the space, you know, the transition. It almost reminds me of the river Styx here. That transitional space between what was and what is to come. We maintain mental balance. Doesn't mean we're not going to move forward. Doesn't mean things aren't going to change, but mentally we maintain mental. I'm closing my eyes and I can see a big rose now in the middle of that eye. We maintain mental balance, knowing that roses take time to bloom. And we are talking about the rose lineage here, and we are talking about the divine feminine, and we are talking about the sacredness of that. So we take that time. We maintain mental balance. Watch our thoughts this week in particular. Okay, then we have 1, 2 wand cards as well. So again, a beautiful balance of our thoughts and our actions, our thoughts and our spirit. That beautiful Leo energy, if we can take that time. 2 of wands and 5 of wands. Recognizing early stages of creation. Recognizing we are preparing to move forward on a soul level here. And when anything comes up to antagonize that, to shift that, knowing that is part of our spirit, that it is trying to transmute that energy. Holding, so much as it's almost like a guidance to have mental balance, have spiritual balance this week as well. Really, really, really connecting to our own higher self this week. Then we have beautifully 2 pentacles, the 5 and the 7 of pentacles. How do we see growth? By looking up and seeing growth. It is up to us to see how much we've grown. It is up to us to see how much others have grown. It is, and we do that in our actions. We do that with our hands. We do that with everything that we do and say and see and feel. We do that with our 5 senses and 6th sense and more. Yeah, it's up to us. We are the key to growth, and just really being aware of that and keeping our physical balance this week as well. So we have mental balance, spiritual balance, physical balance, really taking care of the body, ensuring that we are in alignment with what we feel without that judgment, without that trying to fix, just feeling what we feel. Hope comes from despair. If we didn't despair over anything, then we would never need hope. So it's all part of the growth process. It's all part of it. Not separating the two, but bringing them together. And then cups, we have just the 1 cup card. Let me just double check. Yes, the 1 cup card, which is the 3 of cups. Now I can really see that as co-collaboration with the universe. And, going back to the 2 of swords, having this way, that way, standing in the middle ground, there's always a 3rd option. And if we can keep ourselves physically balanced, mentally balanced, spiritually balanced, we are opening the door for that 3rd universal option to come in. We are opening ourselves up for the very help that we've been asking for. We then have 2 major arcanas, which is beautiful. Again, that balance, strength and the Fool. Powerful, powerful energies here. Different ends of the spectrum. Leo and Aquarius, which are the different ends of the astrological chart. Really keeping our thoughts open, free, deciding to see things differently. Not ignoring what they are, but giving them the benefit of the doubt and not judging them by our past. That's going to take great strength, and it's going to take an open heart. I can feel the energy shifting. Hold on. Wow, and that energy is really shifting from my root right up to my heart. Is that gone? I feel much backache this week and hip, definitely hip concerns this week. It's opening. Everything is beautifully opening like a rose. So take that time to allow it to bloom. But the most generous thing that you can give yourself and others this week in particular is the opportunity to see things differently, the opportunity for people to be different, ourselves included. And we do that not by ignoring what has happened, but by acknowledging that that has been part of the process of their own soul's growth, of our own soul's growth, of connecting to our divinity. Anything else there? So I'm being very drawn to the lamb on the strength card here. And it's almost like a feeling of sacrificial lamb. What do we need to sacrifice? The lamb is alive and the lamb is fine here. It's absolutely fine. Nothing is sacrificed. Nothing is destroyed here. So where are you going with that? Then I'm being drawn to the Fool and the crystal that is about to be placed into the flower of life. I can't quite see what she's got on her chest. Lambs and crystals, now roses. There's a definite needful clarity there in regards to what we feel we're sacrificing, what we feel we are channeling, what energy with the crystals, and what is to grow from that. So we have animals, we have earth, we have plants. Yeah, we have lots of medicine around us. Lots of medicine around us. Thank you. God, that took quite some time actually. Oh, but it feels good now. Now I want to put my chest out. Now I want to open my chest. Lots of medicine around us that can show us unconditional love this week. We have animals. They are the masters of unconditional love. Surround ourselves with those animals. We have crystals, fantastic for transmuting energy. Let's remember how to transmute energy in regards to creation. Yeah, let's remember that unconditional love. I can't remember what the other thing was that we have. Crystals, animals, plants. Of course, roses, flowers. Let's take the time to bloom. Let's really learn from these incredible archetypes in our life about unconditional love, about transmuting energy, about standing and blooming in our own beauty, in our own time that is right for us. Let's really look at the gifts around us this week in particular. Rather than buying, a little puppy for someone because it's Valentine's Day, or, here's some crystals or some jewellery or or here's some roses. If we receive those gifts, let's really see them from all senses and appreciate their medicine this week. If we can do that with animals and flowers and crystals and things like that, let's try and do that with each other and ourselves. Let's really appreciate the medicine for what it is, and that is unconditional love. That is the ability to transmute what we are experiencing and to grow and bloom in our own beauty. Everything this week, it may not feel that way, or it may. It's all part of the gift of the Leo, which is to connect to our own divinity by remembering our unconditional love, our source, by remembering our ability to change things, and by remembering our growth, and that all things are here to help us grow in our own beauty. I think that's everything. I think that's, 44 minutes near enough. I've just split the pack and we're on the 10 of Swords. It's time now. It's time to move away from all that negative thinking, all that negative programming. That's what I hear from the negative programming. And remember who we truly are. Unconditional love, beauty, change, transformation, light. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. The potential is there as always. What we do with it, it's up to you. Take care.